Hello, med editors, foam editors, and residency leadership. My name is Justin Stowens. I'm one of the associate program directors at Christiana Care, which is in Newark, Delaware, USA. And I'm going to talk to you today about how we created a electronic shift card program. It is completely free and requires very little electronic programming skills, as I have none. This is what we were stuck with in the beginning. This is a paper shift card, and this is what we're looking to replace. This is the end of shift scribble by an attending physician recording what feedback they gave to the resident and sort of where they needed to go next. And this was just an incredible waste of time, especially in 2019 when we've got the free technology available to fix this. So this is what we created. This is literally a QR code, which you may have seen around town, and it's put on a badge that every one of my resident doctors carries with them. They each have their own unique QR code, and at the end of the shift, they would hold that little card up to our attending who would whip out their cell phone. Here you can see this is an iPhone. When you try to take a photograph of a QR code using an iPhone, that little bar across the top appears that will let you click that bar and it will take you to a website. That's what a QR code is. If you're using a non-iPhone, you can download any number of free apps that let you scan a QR code to take you to a web address, and that's really all a QR code is. So when you click on that, this is what it looks like, and we created a document, a Google document that is the shift card, and the attending physician would scroll down this, fill up all the information, and click submit, making everything electronic and mobile. As you can see, every single resident in our program had a QR code. And not only did they have these QR codes on their badges, but we have these signs printed up around the department in case an attending wanted to write an evaluation on a resident at a later date and they forgot to scan the card, or they wanted to write an eval on someone they hadn't worked with. Another nice part about this is that, as you can see, my phone, I'm quite behind filling out my evaluations. Every time you scan a new QR code, it opens up a new web address. So you can literally have any number of QR code scanned shift cards pending. We did have some cards that didn't have any names on them at all, and that's because we evolved this system to also allow feedback towards medical students. And you have to be careful with medical students. They're protected by FERPA, which is much like HIPAA. In that their information, their education information needs to be protected. Since this is all through Google, that is not a secure server, you can't keep any of their information online. So when a med student came to rotate with us for that rotation, they would be called med student number 1. If you're looking to apply this to medical students, just remember to keep it anonymous. So I'm going to show you how this whole thing works. And this is really all you need. You need a Gmail account. This is the Gmail account that I've created for the program. I think I gave it a fun little address of Christiana EM Feedback. You should create one for your program so that you can keep it separate from your personal Gmail. But when you create a Gmail account, you actually get more than just the Gmail account now, which is really great. You get these little apps, and if you click on it, you'll see that you have a Google Drive. If you open your Google Drive for this account, you will see a place where you can store all kinds of files, and you can actually see my shift card program in the works here. So I'm going to create a new folder, or I've created one already here called an example folder. As you build this, you'll organize this however you'd like. If you click on new, you have the opportunity to create a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or a Google Slides, much like Excel or Word. You've also got this thing more down here, and this is where you start. We're going to create a Google form. The Google form looks like this. It is there's a basic form, and the whole purpose of Google Forms was created so that you could send out a survey when they got this link, and when it would answer your questions you would type in here, and then it would save everybody's responses, much like SurveyMonkey or any of the survey programs. That's what most people were using this for. I decided to use it for shift cards. So you could, at this point, you could start creating your shift card program. So you could create them, and then you could start asking questions. Every program has their own evaluation that should link to milestones or to whatever format you're using, whatever kind of feedback you want. I will tell you, this is all very customizable. You can change the background, you can change the questions, you can have an unlimited amount of questions, you can change the kind of questions. It can be short answer or paragraph or multiple choice. You can really get fairly extensive with this. And I will show you what ours looked like. I've created a copy of one of our one of our doctors. So when our attending scans Dr. Martin's QR code, it takes them to this. And I have a little bit of a welcome and a request for information. It shows I've imported a picture in the first question so that the person who's evaluating Dr. Martin can say, oh yeah, that's definitely him. And then we've broken this down into which rotation are you working on. We actually have our residents get their shift cards filled out, not just in the emergency department, but at our away rotations, our off-service rotations, sort of everywhere this works for. As it gets pretty complicated. Are you evaluating the resident on a procedural technique, on a stable patient interaction, on unstable patient interaction? You get the idea. I mean, it can be pretty extensive. Here are all the different procedures that they could click on to evaluate. When they are done evaluating, there will be a submit button. All that information will get stored in that Google Drive in this form. And if you look at the responses, right now no one's filled out any of the, and it has not filled out a shift card for the fake Dr. Martin here. And so nothing appears, but after he's been evaluated a couple of times, you would see the responses sort of filling in down here. But that is also still a little bit cumbersome. And Google's made it easier for us with this little button right here. As it turns out, you can tell the Google form to send all of those responses to a spreadsheet. Just by clicking on this button, it would link it. So I'm going to show you what that looks like with our what our spreadsheets look like. I'm going to open up the spreadsheet for our class of the year 2022. This is, you can actually see all of my residents are running here across the bottom. And if you, these are all our interns, so nothing actually has been filled out yet. All of the information, all the answers to all the possible questions would come across here, and you would have them immediately put into an electronic format where you could copy and paste this into the CCC document or wherever else you needed to. It's also very easy for you to share your Google Drive and all the files in it. So this way, all of the APDs, the PD, even the academic attendings or other attendings that have a vested interest in how the residents are doing on a day-to-day basis can have access to this. So before a shift, you can actually review very easily, even on your phone, mobilely, how the resident you're about to work with is doing, which is great. And that basics of the whole program. You're probably wondering, number one, how do you get the QR code? I'm going to show you that next. So it's kind of nice. You can do a couple of things to get a QR code. You can literally Google free QR code creator. I have no vested interest in any of these, but we'll just do that. And I mean, there's going to be a bunch of them down here. Here's one that I've used before. And here it is. If you type in a web address here, it's going to create a QR code for you. So if you go back to this, to the Google form, and you go up here and you click on send, it will ask you, how do you want to send this form? And you don't want to send the form right now. You just need the link that you're going to turn into a QR code. And that's what this little symbol right here is. That's the link. And here it is. So you can highlight this, and you can copy it, or you can just click copy, and it'll copy it for you. And now go back to your QR code creator and put it in here. I'm just using Command V to copy it and hit create a code. And voila, the computer creates a little QR code for you. And you can take a screenshot of this. And now anytime someone tries to scan this QR code, it will send them right back to the fake Dr. Martin's form for them to fill out. I'll give you a couple of other hints on this. Each form you can link to a spreadsheet. Well, you can link multiple forms to the same spreadsheet. That's what we've done here. I've created one spreadsheet for my intern class, and all down here along the bottom, as you link more forms to that spreadsheet, it'll just fill up another tab down here. I will tell you that as you're going to, if you have a very large program with lots of residents or lots of medical students rotating through, this gets pretty big. You sort of scroll down and you can see the numbers flying by here. It automatically, the spreadsheet has room for 102 responses, and you're going to think, yeah, I'm going to need to do more than that. And you probably will. Over a year we found that you definitely need to add some rows. Most people don't get above 500 cards, but those that are really into receiving feedback will get multiple shift cards filled out in a shift, sometimes for a procedure, sometimes for a specific interaction. And we encourage that. So you're going to have to add some rows. Don't make the mistake that I made in the beginning, which was to just add, a couple of thousand rows for every single person. After about a week of working, all the shift card program, the link between the spreadsheet and the form, the link stopped working. So all of our data was still being collected here in the Google form, but it wasn't transferring over to the sheet. And that was because I had too many people and too much information, too much space on each on each one of these spreadsheets. So it's nice to break it down by class. We have 12 residents in each one of our categorical EM classes, and I broke it down into the classes for each of the categoricals, and then one form for all of my EMFMs and all of my EMIMs. And it works pretty well. I've probably added 200 or 300 rows below every single resident, and that's quite well, and it hasn't frozen for us. So that's how you create the QR codes. And then you got to put them on we got to put this on a badge, and we've had an administrative assistant do that for us. And then you had to hand them out to the residents. The last part of this that I'll show you here in this video is a really cool function, and that is that Google Forms has its open access, so it means that people can actually program stuff for Google Forms to use. They call them add-ons. And if you look over here, I've downloaded a couple of add-ons. If you go to the three dots, you can actually go to the add-on store, and you can look at all the different possible programs that people have written to sort of modify how Google Forms works. The one that I really like with this program is an email notifier. So this is the one that I use. When you turn this sucker on, it will work whenever this form is accessed. And the purpose of this add-on is to create an email. And so down here, anytime somebody fills out a form, this program can shoot an email based on those results. And what I do is I have an email automatically sent to my administrative assistant. So every morning when they come into work, they have 10 or 12 emails in their box saying, hey, this doctor received a shift feedback card, this doctor did, this doctor did. So they don't have to look through the whole Google Drive and look through every single one of those files to see who got a card submitted. They've already got those in an email form. The other thing that's very nice is this program will let you actually create an email that includes the answers in the form. So, residents love to know what their feedback is, and so you can actually send the resident all the information that the attending filled out on them through this program. There's also some what we call conditional modifiers. So you might say, well, what if the attending doesn't want to? Well, you can put a question in there, and I have a question in the form, and since this form it shows all of my questions here. The first question I've got in my form says, if you would like a copy of your feedback sent to the resident, please authorize this by typing your last name here. And so I'm going to say in the conditional logic of this app, if that question is not empty, so it contains somebody typed their name in there, then send an email to, and I could put in Dr. Martin's email address. So then that means that they're going to get a copy of this every time the attending wants to send them a copy. So you can go through here and you can really look at all the different add-ons that are available, and you can tailor this to your program. People create new add-ons every day, so I'm sure there's even more interesting stuff out there. That's the add-on that I'm using right now. I'll tell you that some of the add-ons cost money. This add-on did cost me, it cost $20 a year to use it, and I'm trying it out for the first time this year. The other this one, Data Director for Forms, was the first iteration of the email add-on that I was using. It's free. It's still there, and you can use it. The emails that it generates aren't as pretty or easy to read as this one, but it has all the same functions. I've just updated it and decided to use this one because the feedback I got from my residents was that the emails that they really liked reading weren't formatted nicely. Okay, so that's it. It's not too complicated. Let me put my contact information back up here again. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. We've done online screen sharing chats with other programs that want to get this up and running. But anyhow, if you've got questions, shoot me an email. I'm happy to talk about it. And good luck making this thing.